Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the most up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. We're getting things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are slipping this morning with S&P futures down 0.73%, Dow futures down 0.63%, and NASDAQ futures down 1.04%. Fresh geopolitical tensions have added to investor concerns this morning over a potential reduction in stimulus by the Federal Reserve. Russia said that it will eliminate the dollar from its National Wellbeing Fund in an attempt to reduce exposure to U.S. assets amid threats of sanctions. The result has been session lows across the board and the dollar pairing gains. Asian markets also felt the tensions' effects as President Joe Biden unveiled plans to amend a U.S. ban on investments in companies linked to Chinese military, which may expand scrutiny to a wider set of enterprises. More negative sentiment came after a statement from Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker, who said Wednesday that the U.S. central bank should begin discussing a timeframe for pulling back from its bond buying program. 10-year Treasury yields have held around 1.60%. Traders will want to listen to Friday's payrolls data as it could provide another twist in the debate on the bond buying program. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
Well, Shane, I've been watching the S&Ps all morning long. They were down just fractionally early on, like around 5 a.m. my time. They were down about 0.17 on the SPY. And then, later on, you saw that they were down around 7 a.m. They were down about 0.48, and now you're down 0.78. So you're definitely seeing some weakness. We're giving up some of the gains. It's normal. There's an anticipation, there's concern, there's a tug of war, whatever you want to call it, between inflation readings and the reopening of the economy. You're getting a lot of economic data out today, so it's going to clear up the picture pretty quickly. You're seeing these S&Ps down, but we do have the jobs report that's coming out this morning. It should be positive. However, the futures do point to a negative opening. The initial jobless claims are expected to have fallen to 400,000 last week. That's a positive. They're weighting additional key economic indicators which are also out today. You talked about the Russia announcing that it's no longer holding dollars in its wealth fund. Listen, they've been talking about this since 2018. You got to remember that they started selling treasuries in 2018. They finally completed it. They just had such a large position. So, any reaction to this is a little bit overdone because it should have already been priced in. I'm looking at news out of China. The Chinese Minister of Commerce, he came out and said that the U.S. and China have really started to normalize their communications on economic issues and trade. That's a positive signal. One news item that I did find interesting that came out yesterday was that the U.S. said that it's going to impose tariffs on the U.K. and 5 other countries in response to their taxes that they're putting on U.S. technology companies. But they're going to suspend these levies for about 6 months as it's going to try and negotiate international resolution on this. But I'm still focused on earnings. That's my key here. And so we got a lot of good stuff that happened last night and more coming out this evening.
Moving into earnings to watch, looks like PVH did pretty well. Bill, why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, they delivered a beat of $1.09 on higher revenue. I was really surprised on this. It was trading off all day long. The put volumes were kind of elevated. They really weren't expecting to deliver such a strong beat, but PVH had a nice beat last night. Guidewire, that's ticker GWRE, Grace William Richard Edward. They also beat by 8 cents on higher revenue. NTAP, that's Network Appliances, NTAP, Nancy Tom Apple Paul. They delivered a 5-cent beat on higher revenue. And Splunk, these guys missed by $2.19, but it was done on higher revenue. You also look at some of the stocks that came out this morning. Sienna, they beat. They consensus was 48 cents. They came in at 62 cents. That was a pretty nice one. Smuckers, they delivered a nice beat this morning. Their consensus was $1.67, and they came in at $1.89. So those are a couple good ones. But my main one was Conn's, which is a discount retail store. Their first quarter adjusted EPS was 30 cents, and they came in at $1.55. So that was a huge beat for ticker CONN, Charlie Oscar Nancy Nancy.
How about upcoming earning announcements to watch?
Five Below, ticker FIVE, price for an 8% move. Earnings per share is expected to be 65 cents. Lululemon, that's ticker LULU, Larry Under, also priced for an 8% move. Their EPS is expected to come in at 90 cents. CrowdStrike, that's ticker CRWD, Charlie Richard William David, priced for a 10% move, expecting to make a nickel. DocuSign, I'm tenuous. I'm not sure if they're coming out this afternoon, but I do see some indications that they might be releasing this afternoon. Their EPS is coming in at 27 cents is the estimate. And that's what I'm kind of seeing for this afternoon, Shane. Oh, and let's not forget Broadcom, AVGO, Apple Victor Grace Under. Their price for a 2.5% move when they release. EPS estimates is $6.42.
Moving into our economic reports, Bill, tell us what we're seeing for reports today.
Well, you have the ADP employment rate. This is kind of like the leading one for tomorrow's monthly jobs numbers. That's coming out at 8:15 this morning. Of course, at 8:30 we have the jobless claims number. At 8:30 we also have productivity and cost figures coming out. At 9:45 the PMI composite. At 10 o'clock the ISM services index. At 11 a.m., this is a day later and a half hour later than normal, the EIA is going to be released their oil stockpiles report. So that's going to be a key one to watch. Then we have some Fed speak. Atlanta's Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic will be speaking at 12:30 p.m. Philadelphia's Fed Bank President Patrick Harker, he's going to be speaking at 1:40 p.m. And the Vice Chair, Randall Quarles, he's going to be giving a speech at 3:05 p.m. this afternoon.
Moving into our morning's critical insights, starting things off with news on United Airlines, ticker UAL. The company has made an agreement with a Denver-based aerospace company, Boom Supersonic, to buy 15 of its Overture airliners with an option for an additional 35 aircrafts. Once operational, Overture is expected to be the first large commercial aircraft to be net zero carbon from day one, using 100% renewable aviation fuel. UAL share price is down 1.36% in pre-market. In other news, BHP Group, that's ticker BHP, and Freeport McMoran, ticker FCX, are reportedly among a group of investors that have agreed to provide copper miner Jetty Resources with $50 million in funding amid rising demand for precious metal commodity. BHP share price is down 1.31% in pre-market, and FCX is down 2.17%. News on Hyzon Motors, ticker DCRB. Hyzon announced that it has received an order for 20 fuel cell trucks from various Dutch transport companies. Hyzon share price is up 0.99% in pre-market. In other news, media company Meredith Corp, ticker MDP, announced Thursday that it has accepted a revised proposal from Gray Television, ticker GTN, to acquire Meredith's local media group for $2.825 billion in cash. MDP's share price is up 2.12% in pre-market. News on Merck, ticker MRK. Merck has completed the spinoff Organon, ticker OGN, which will trade under New York Stock Exchange. Merck has received distribution from Organon of $9 billion. News on Virgin Galactic, ticker SPCE. Virgin announced a new contract to fly Kelly Girardi, a researcher for the International Institute of Astronautical Sciences, on a dedicated research flight during which Kelly will conduct experiments and test new healthcare technologies in space. Last one for me, one on KKR, ticker KKR. The company is announcing a minority stake that is buying up in a company called Seged for 5.5 billion euros. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
Well, Shane, I break my news alerts down into specific segments for industry groups, as well as events. It just gives me the ability to jump on these hot stories before real price action starts to come in. I get to do the research, and it makes doing research a lot easier. I'm looking at my FANG alert this morning, and a couple things that pop out to me. Apple is requesting their employees to return to the office 3 days a week starting in September. Google's going to allow U.S. ads for cryptocurrency exchange wallets. It's starting in August. I see Netflix is having a shareholders meeting today that starts at 6 p.m. this evening. And I see more recall news from Tesla. They're recalling hundreds of their Model 3s that were shipped to China, due to like seatbelt and tire pressure issues. I'm going over to my Dow Jones 30 alert. Microsoft bought out this firm Refin Labs. Terms were not disclosed, but this binwalk open software has been used to analyze devices for firmware security issues. JP Morgan, that's ticker JPM, John Paul Mary, their asset wealth management division is said to be considering doing additional acquisitions. JP Morgan is also halfway through a campaign to open up 400 new bank branches and is close to being the first U.S. bank to have brick and mortar presence in every state except for Alaska and Hawaii. It's kind of big news. It's kind of a turnaround rather than doing, tellers, just doing virtual tellers. They're actually having bricks and mortar places. That's a big plus. Disney, that's ticker DIS. They're going to be opening up their Disneyland resorts tomorrow. So watch for DIS to kind of move a little positive off of this news. In terms of events going on today, one event that I found really interesting, really came out last night, was FireEye. That's ticker FEYE, Frank Edward Yellow Edward. This is a cybersecurity firm, and they said Wednesday that it's selling its product-based business, including the FireEye name, to a private equity firm. And they're going to get $1.2 billion in cash for this deal. And they're going to be focusing in on cybersecurity and then selling the product and then selling off their product division and name. I find that to be a pretty interesting deal that's happening. In terms of events that are going on, TMUS, it's ticker TMUS, Tom, Michael, Under, Sam, at 11 a.m. They're having their annual shareholders meeting. Yelp, that's ticker YELP, Yellow, Edward, Larry, Paul, 12:30 p.m. today. They're having their shareholders meeting. And NVIDIA, that's ticker NVDA, Nancy Victor, David Apple, at 2 p.m. today. NVIDIA is going to be holding their annual shareholders meeting. I did see a nice little catalyst call going on. It's a negative catalyst call. It's on ticker CNSL, Charlie, Nancy, Sam, Larry. Citi opened up a 90-day catalyst watch for Consolidated Communications. It's a negative catalyst watch. They also put a sell recommendation on the stock this morning. But that's what I'm seeing this morning, Shane.
Moving into our trade talk picks for today, I'm picking one I spoke about, Virgin Galactic, ticker SPCE. This is one we definitely need to wait till we see some morning weakness on. I think it's very safe to expect that. Off of their announcement of this new contract, and they're flying this researcher to do a dedicated research on healthcare technologies in space. It's very interesting. It's very innovative, and it gives a lot of good hype to Virgin Galactic and them continuing to look toward more business. So I think this is really good news for them. It's going to be something that it's going to be opening a little too high, maybe wait for it to go down look at it around 10, 11 a.m., see if it's got some weakness, and then buy in, because I think that we can expect it to go back up from there. So that's my pick for today. What's your pick looking like, Bill?
Well, Shane, I'm going to go with Netflix, ticker NFLX, Nancy Frank, Larry X-Ray. That shareholders meeting should be a positive. I expect the stock to open up very weak. So, you really want to, in a day like today where you already know the market's going to be opening up weak, don't buy at the opening. Just wait a little bit. See if there's more weakness coming, because I think that a lot of these stocks are going to be pulling back initially. But Netflix is an interesting story because of the fact of the shareholders meeting. They're probably going to have some positive announcements coming out. The issue with the shareholders meeting is that it's at 6 p.m. this evening. So this is really an aftermarkets trade. You have to be able to execute in the aftermarkets, but I think that you're going to see some weakness in the stock. You're already seeing trading at the 495 level. It could go a little lower, but I feel that it's going to bounce this afternoon during the shareholders meeting. Shareholders meetings are essentially pep rallies, and they really try and deliver positive news, especially these big companies like Netflix. So that's my trade for the day. Netflix, we'll see how it does in the aftermarket today.
Well, let's move into what's hot off the press. So this is the news that's hitting the tape as we speak. That's going to be moving the stocks today. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, Bill, Which of the headlines we should be letting traders know about?
Unisys, that's ticker UIS, under India SAM. They're going to be acquiring Unified Square for $152 million. They just entered into the agreement. Here's one on Jacobs Engineering. That's ticker J as in John. Jacobs Engineering just won 2 rail contracts in New Zealand.
One on Evaxion Biotech, ticker EVAX. It said that its preclinical data has showed that the company's Raven platform and proprietary ABC targeting DNA vaccine technology have potential to make a significant contribution in addressing coronaviruses. So basically, the company is aiming to develop a next generation of virus vaccines.
I see Moody's came out with a story on Johnson & Johnson, ticker JNJ, John, Nancy, John. They feel that they face litigation exposure from the talcum powder lawsuits and the proposed opioid settlement. You know, we talk about Merck and that spinoff they're doing of OGN, Oscar Grace Nancy. Oscar Grace Nancy is going to be added to the S&P 500 today on its first day of trading. That's a big deal. You know, these funds that mimic the S&P, they're going to have to be buying shares of OGN today. So OGN will definitely be trading higher, move off of the opening print, which is good for both OGN and Merck MRK.
Plug Power, ticker PLUG, and Renault, ticker RNSDF, have launched their joint venture. Bayer, ticker BAYRY, has acquired Noria Therapeutics and PSMA Therapeutics on undisclosed terms.
Ticker AAL, American Airlines, Apple Larry. American Airlines generated cash for the first time since the pandemic began. It's a nice story. If you look at AAL, the shares have been on a tear. ABT, Apple Boy Tom, Abbott Labs says that it has the capacity to support expanded use of its heart pump.
One on AMC, ticker AMC. The company has advised against investing in its Class A common stock. Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's all I'm seeing today, Shane.
Same here, so that'll do it for what's hot off the press. But traders, keep in mind, you can receive the same breaking stories we do simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out for a free trial today. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Wednesday, I had Walgreens Boots Alliance, as ticker WBA, which opened at $52.94 and closed up at $53.83 for a 1.68% gain. And it basically went from start to finish, went on a rise. So there was pretty much a good time to buy in any point in the day, but hopefully you bought in early. How'd yours end up doing, Bill?
Well, I did Merck yesterday. That's ticker MRK, Michael Richard Kilo. Now, if you recall, this was not like a one-day trade, because there's a special situation going on here, because they're spinning off OGN, and you're getting, for every share of Merck that you own, you get 1/10 of a share of OGN. And OGN is added to the S&P 500, so it's automatically going to have a positive opening today. So with that having a positive opening, Merck will be trading higher. So the idea here was to wait till late in the afternoon yesterday to execute an opening position. Now, if the stock opened yesterday at 75.31, which was really the low of the day. It did hit a high during the day of 76.09. It closed out on the day at 75.87. If you waited to the afternoon, like myself, 75.50 was a really good entry point. You're looking at the stock this morning, and it's 75, 76 to $76, and it's still light, because the real opening is going to happen when OGN opens up for trading today, because then OGN is going to be pushing higher today, and Merck will go along with it. So I'm really positive on this trade. It's already showing a profitability, and I think that gain is really going to be there when OGN starts trading today. So this was not my normal one-day trade. This is taking a little longer, but yesterday afternoon was really the time you wanted to get in, and you want to get out early this morning when OGN, after the OGN opens up and the hedge funds start buying their positions in OGN. So keep an eye on them, and let's make some money.
Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.